World away, the war in Ukraine continues, and months into this conflict, there's no sign that Russia and Russian forces will be backing down anytime soon. The people of Ukraine continue to be bombarded with missile strikes as Russian troops advance towards cities that are filled with civilians. Now, some have escaped the country, but others simply aren't able to. Now, the war has created a notable humanitarian crisis in the region. Ukrainians forced out of their homes and fleeing westward, some leaving everything behind. Teams from around the entire world have traveled to the region to help how they can on the ground. And that includes an Idaho man who spent the last several weeks working in Ukraine. For 128 days, Russian forces have continued their assault on the country and people of Ukraine. Thousands have been killed, thousands more have been injured. Survivors across the country live in a tense reality, with resources and aid needed to keep them going. That's made possible, though, by volunteers. Volunteers like Matt Gregson, a physician's assistant who calls Pocatello, Idaho, home.
Just kind of watching the news and sort of the heartbreaking stories of the families getting displaced from the eastern side of Ukraine and all over. And just kind of thought, well, somebody should go help them.
Gregson did some thinking and decided he was going to help. He connected with the organization August Mission out of Utah, a humanitarian-focused nonprofit.
About 2 months ago, August Mission reached out to me and said, oh, when can you go? I was like, oh, geez, I guess this is real. So I've been here 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks now.
Over the past few weeks, Gregson worked with other team volunteers to load resources onto trucks to get them into Ukraine from a warehouse in Poland.
Loaded up with some of the humanitarian aid supplies, food, blankets, bedding, mattresses, you name it. And then we drove across the border.
We're preparing a drop-off at the City Children's Hospital. We have diapers, wipes, kind of various donated items.
We brought a bunch of supplies to the Children's Hospital. The next day went to a hospice in a little village south of Melnitsky. And then the next day, a refugee center at a Catholic church north of Melnitsky. Priest there kind of takes care of about 300 people. And so this group brings supplies up to them.
Gregson says the work on the ground is impactful and tailored to the needs of those who need drastic help.
The group found out about a mother, wife who had lost her husband at the front. And we went and looked at a house later that day and had about 1.5 acres, a full garden. And the house was only $6,000. So they just decided, well, let's just buy her a house. And in about 4 days, they had worked through whatever red tape there was and gave this lady and her children a house.
The scenes we've seen on American television are only a filtered fraction of the reality. An example Gregson detailed, a hospice center caught in a war zone.
Really hard to watch or to look at and try to figure out what they need. And then just amazing. This young man and his family were taking care of all these people with a little bit of help from a couple of other people that had been displaced from the Donetsk area. But really heartbreaking. Saw one gentleman, he had both lower legs had been amputated, and he had fastened carpet onto his kneecaps and was dragging himself around on his knees with that carpet around the facility. So yeah, that was a rough one.
The war continues, and the people of Ukraine will need significant help for weeks, months, and years to come.
People there are just absolutely wonderful, kindest, most grateful people, and they just wanted the Russians out. They wanted to go back to their lives and be left alone. But it was interesting to get to talk to them too, and they were all very communicative, very, very smart, and fortunately, a lot of them speak very good English, so it made a lot of that communication easy. A lot of these people that I talked to have families back in the East, families that couldn't get out. The soldiers that were in Melnitsky are on these rotations where they're up at the front for a couple of days, and then they come back, and then they get sent back. And they just want the Russians out, and who could blame them? They didn't do anything.
Pat Gregson is now headed back home today, but August Mission continues their work in Ukraine. And we're going to have a link to their fundraising campaign, a little bit more about what their work in the region looks like. We'll have it in this story at KTVB.com. Now, Gregson tells me it is interesting to see how the GoFundMe campaigns that they have online. He watched on the ground as the donations came in, and they're able to take that money and really use it quickly and in a meaningful way. So it was something interesting that a world away when you donate money to something like this, Gregson tells us that on the ground, your dollars, every dollar does make a major difference. 208 continues right after this.